Hi, I'm Linda. Glad to have you back. I just finished up a snow scene today. Mountain with a little lake in the back with some snow and a little path. Beautiful little pines. I even have a little alizarin crimson in the back for could be a sunrise or a sunset. I still haven't found a name for it yet, but it is a pretty little winter scene, easy to do. So if you can follow me, pause and paint, you can do it. So let's get started. Well, here are the oil paints I used. Liquid white, titanium white, black, phthalo blue, Prussian blue, Van Dyke brown, alizarin crimson, and red. And so now I've got a clean dry canvas, white canvas, and I'm putting on one nice really thin coat of liquid white all over. A very, very thin coat. I know it's a little bit thick, but sometimes you can take it out with a shop towel, and I'll show you. There we go. Little blue shop towel. Works great. Has no fibers in it. Doesn't leave lint. And I just take the excess oil off. Works really, really good. So now I'm going into straight alizarin crimson, just a little bit on 1 inch. And I'm going to just do little X strokes in the middle and off to the right there and down, probably halfway. That's it. Just a little bit in the middle there and about halfway down, and just blend that in. Make sure you don't have any hairs in there, but yeah, just blend it in as best you can. So now I'm taking some phthalo, a little bit of phthalo, right on the same brush. Actually, you can use the same brush, and just do little X strokes up in the right corner there. And those corners should be a little bit darker and the top darker. And just do little X strokes, blending kind of gently down into that alizarin crimson. There you see, now I'm going down the bottom, same color, phthalo blue. Gonna create the base for background for snow. Snow does have a lot of shadows in it, so we're gonna put the phthalo blue in there. Just blend that in all the way up, just right underneath that alizarin crimson. Just back and forth, smooth it in. You can have a few darker lines in there, that's fine. But I just want to make sure the hairs are off and they're nice and it's nice and smooth. Okay, so now I'm going into a little bit of crimson and putting a couple spots down in the snow there. A little bit toward the bottom and a little on the left there, just where that alizarin sky is going to reflect on the snow. You might be able to see it, then again you might not, but I'm going to put a little there. And I am making the corners a little bit darker, just a little bit. So I'm going back up there and just doing the very edge, the top edge, a little on the right, a little on the left, and just blend that into your crimson sky. And actually it'll become a little bit lavender, which is fine. So just blend, and you can make your sky any way you want. Actually, I'm just doing a real simple sky today. So now I'm going into Prussian, a little bit of black, a little bit of Van Dyke brown, and a touch of crimson. I'm making the base work for a mountain that we're going to be putting in. I want a really, really dark color with a little roll on my palette knife. That's going to take some practice. I know I'm still learning on that palette knife, but sometimes when you hold it just right, it'll flow right, but it's all in the angle. Now you see I started with the straight up, and I'm not liking that too well, so I'm going to slant my, you'll see that I'll twist my wrist, and I'm going to go, there you go. See, I'm slanting my wrist, and I'm just pulling that roll down ever so light on that canvas, shaping the top of your mountain. Just paying attention mainly to the top edge. You want a nice crisp top edge on the mountain. Then working my way over, shaping the top of that mountain. You can put as many little peaks as you want in there. It's your mountain. But I'm just going to do a little simple one today. I'm going to scrape down all that excess blue. Just scrape it all down as much as you can. Leave the top edge alone and just get all that excess dark blue off. So now I'm taking a clean dry 1 inch and just pulling real gently at the top of that mountain, bringing it down, blending it, wiping a little excess off my paper towel, but just dragging that down, and then and buffing a little of that in at the base of that mountain. Just pull down, and then I just take a little excess off my paper towel, just pulling all that excess down, because you don't need all that on there. And just blending at the base. There we go. Now I'm going to go into a little bit of liquid white and a little bit of titanium white. I want a nice, not real thin, but I don't want it real thick paint. I want it to flow on my palette knife onto that mountain. Just ever so light. Just pull down on that. Get it in place right at the edge of that mountain and just pull. Just slide her across. And it should break really nice, kind of like making waves. Just start at the peak and pull. There you go. Sometimes the angles are kind of hard to do, but you can make up your own. It's still a little difficult for me at times, but I get it. It takes me a while, and then I get it the way I like it. Start at the peak, and you can do jagged, make little extra peaks on your way down. Okay, I have put in a bunch of white there. I'm going into a little bit of icy blue, which is little bit of Prussian with white. I'm making a very light icy blue, and it's shadow. It's shadow on the left side of the mountain peaks. All on the left side there is all going to be shadow. So you want to have that accent blue in there, which is going to make it really, really nice. And you can keep shaping as you go. You can change it if you want. Add more white on top. But don't forget your shadows, because they're important to put in there. Gives it a realistic effect. So now I put all my mountain together and I'm brushing upward with a clean, dry brush, tapping, softening the bottom of that mountain. And I'm going into a little bit of the Prussian and a little bit of brown, a little bit of crimson, a little bit of white. It's kind of a gray, more of a gray blue. I'm going to make some far away trees, way in the distance, right below that mountain. I'm taking a little fan brush and just tapping in, straight up and down there, just tapping in some little distant trees, way in the back. All the way across. The ones on the left are going to be a little bit taller. And I'll dip into a little more, the same color, but with a little more Prussian. And I'm going to pick out some taller ones that I'm going to do tiny little pine trees way in the distance, ever so tiny. So you really need a small fan brush to do that with. Just the corner, and just try and make some little tiny little pine trees here and there, not much, just a little bit. So now I'm going into Prussian, pretty dark color there, and with a little fan brush, and I'm going to push in some land at the base of those trees, just a little bit. Just push upward. And then it'll fade off to the left there a little bit, but thicker in the beginning. And now I'm taking a clean 1 inch, pulling downward into the water, creating a shadow. And then I'll be brushing very, very lightly across. And it'll give a really nice shadow effect of those trees. So now I'm going into liquid white, a little bit of titanium on my little fan brush. I'm just flicking up there, creating some little brushes that are at the base of those trees, just to give it some interest. So now I'm taking my fan brush, got a roll of white on that. I'm just going to do a little bit of a shoreline there, where the water might be frozen up there on the shore with the snow, but I'm just kind of creating some little lines back there to separate the shadow from the actual trees. Okay, so I'm going into crimson and some more Prussian, making a very, very, very dark color. And we're going to be putting in some little pine trees. I'll be putting 3 on the left and a few on the other side that are going to be bigger. So we're going to start on the left, just not quite as high as that last mountain there, but with the corner of my fan brush, zigzagging, going back and forth with the corner, working my way down. And you would probably go about halfway. So I'll put another one in there to decide exactly where I want it. Oh, I've decided I'm going to pull that tree down just a tiny bit. A little below the halfway mark. Okay, so I am putting another tree in there with the little corner of the fan brush, just kind of side to side, zigzag, putting in some branches. And there goes another one. Just tapping those in. Starting at really soft at the top and then pressing a little harder as you work your way down. Okay, pretty much the same color. Gonna put a big old pine tree right in front there. Putting my mark there. Side to side. Pushing a little bit harder as I work my way down. Reloading. Filling in as I go too. If you don't feel confident enough, then just put your little line in there so you make sure you got a nice straight tree. But just keep pushing away harder and harder as you get down. Reloading. And that brush will spread just perfectly. The fan brush. It makes a great looking pine tree. And the second one, leave some of that alizarin sky a little bit open in the back so you can see it. Don't cover that totally up. Put another small one there. I'll be highlighting these after a bit with some icy blue, real light icy blue. Lots of neat pine trees here. Pushing that in. And a little tiny one in the back there, just on the side. Push that in the back. Some more of that color. Dark. One more tree. Gonna go right alongside that front one, a little farther down though. It's not gonna be in line with the same big trees. It's gonna be a little bit more forward. Just pulling down, see? Doesn't have to be all the way to the top. We're just gonna have kind of a different pine tree, not as many boughs on, lots of big spaces in there, gives it a little more character. So now I'm going into straight white, maybe a tiny bit of liquid white on 1 inch. I'm going to pull underneath that pine and just bring it Just pull it to the other side. Try and drag some of that blue to create shadows. Tap your brush off after each time and put some clean white on there. Do the same thing. Grab underneath and pull. And just kind of watch the lay of the land, because it is kind of going uphill there to the pine trees. Kind of making a little bit of a valley there. Pull some of that blue down. A little bit of white, just pull it in. Same with the other side. A little bit of white snow underneath those trees, pulling that blue to create some shadow. Adding some more white to the snow. Same with the other side. The middle is going to be a kind of a path that I'm going to put some pretty blue in there, that light blue, a little bit of phthalo and white. Just going to create a pathway from the lake, the opening where the lake is there. I'm going to just do a little bit of blue right there where the path goes to the lake, and then it's going to come forward and it's going to get wider and wider as you get to the bottom of the canvas, creating kind of a pathway to the lake. And just smooth that in. I'm taking a fan brush with a little white on there. I'm just creating a little interest under those trees, a little bit of foliage there. I'll be adding some bushes here in a minute, but I just wanted to add some little grassy effects underneath those trees. Okay, now I've got a little bit of liquid white and titanium white on a 1 inch. Flipped it around. I'm going to push upward, and that's how you get those neat little bushes, by flipping your brush around. You pull down on the paint and flip it around, and then you do your little push-ups there with your brush, and that's how you get that really neat effect there with the different shapes. Takes a little practice. I know it took me a while. I kept putting too much paint on, and then I realized I needed a little bit of liquid white on that to make it stick. And it works really well. Just do it very softly. Take your time, and you'll be able to get it just the way you want it. So I'm adding some little grassies with, might be black or even a Van Dyke brown and black. Little grassies back there sticking up with a little liner brush. So now I'm going into a little of the white and the phthalo blue. I'm making an icy blue, which I'm going to put some highlights on those back trees. Fan brush, just tapping lightly. It doesn't have to be every one, just here and there, because you don't want to take away from the rest of your painting. So I'll touch just here and there, you know, where you think it needs it. I think I'm mainly working on the right side of those pines just a little bit, defining where those boughs, you'll really be able to see what direction those boughs are when you put that highlight on. And I'll do every one of those trees. I almost see a finished painting here. My goodness, I love doing this one. And I hope you do too. It's so much fun. So until next time, God bless and happy painting.